you know, so this whole year is about how I want to start the next decade, because we're like 12 months away from the next decade. And so I have actually in the past run my life in my decades of like my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, but with it coming up to be a decade, so this whole year is planning for that. So I decided that I wanted to have a clean slate going into that next decade, and I've got a whole lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up or finalised before I can. So I don't want to be looking back at all. So I just want to step into the decade, right? And so I looked at like, what would I need to do? So I spent 6 hours planning out the year to create that clean slate. So it's all about the clean slate. So it was quite interesting. So I think I shared with you my mantra for this year is stick to the plan. So every year I have set a mantra based on the ultimate theme of that year.
Right.
And last year was courageous curiosity. I really wanted to explore all the things I've been thinking about, explore potential, just really be curious.
Yeah.
And it led me to here. The year after that, I made my mantra to be of service. I wanted it to be nothing about me and all about others. And so it was say yes to if someone wanted me to speak at something for free, if someone wanted me to mentor them, if someone wanted me to be on a board, I would just say yes and just be of service. And then that was awesome. For me, I wrote, it's December the 20th. And what do I need it to be to embark on the next decade? And I just got so clear, like spent ages on what are all the things that are niggling, what are all the things that I'm not in control of, where do I want to have progressed to, and just put it all down and then clearly outlined. But you know what, if you looked at it, it's like one A5 page, but it took me 6 hours. And it's interesting, like I was watching my two sons run a running race at the beach the other day, and the middle one, he is by far faster than the older one, but he always spends so much energy looking to see where his brother is, and he's always in front, but he's like looking around, and then he either just like wins but not as much as he could have, or he loses. Whereas the other one never does that. So he doesn't have as much natural ability, although he's able, but he's probably not as natural as the other one, but he focuses on the end point, and he's just 100% focused, and he's not worrying what his brother's doing. And it's really interesting to watch how much speed the middle one loses by looking around, like moving his head around and looking around. God. And I said a lot of business analogies by watching the kids, actually. And that one I think is really interesting. And I think so I never ever looked at competitors. I've never ever spent 1 second looking at competitors. And then because as you said, I was trained in an era where there was no social media. So I wasn't looking at anything other than trying to get knowledge and information. And so there's no lack of traction or you know, lack of momentum because I'm not looking around.
Because you need the relativity to beat yourself up with the comparison.
Yeah, that's right. So, but now people are spending so much time looking at others and thinking about what others are doing and all those things. All you're doing is you're losing your own speed, and then they're trying to run faster to be like them, but then it just slows them down. It's exactly like my two boys running. But I had so many coaches talk to me about, so what about you? Who are your competitors? Understand them. And I would say, I'm not interested in my competitors. They're like, oh, you need to know what other people are doing. No, I don't. I just need to do what I think, because if I look at my competitors, then I'm going to get distracted and go, oh, but they're doing that, so maybe I should do that. But they're not who I am.
And the story we choose to tell ourselves determines the results we get, right? And we can feel sorry for ourselves. We can stay in the victim mentality and feel like, oh, what will people say? The other thing is, what do people think? We use the way that people will interpret our actions, and we create those stories on their behalf. Oh, if this didn't work, that means I'm a failure, and therefore all my friends who saw me take this big leap of faith will think that, oh, I'm a fool, that I should have stuck to blank, right? And
I think when you can take that away, worrying what I've always thought, like, anyone that thinks anything about anything I'm doing is never actually about me.
Yeah.
It's always about them. So I can't control it, and it's not really about me.
Right.
So who cares? You know, I think once you let go of that, you know, it's interesting about that. The words the worst swear word in our house is can't. Can't, C-A-N-T, just in case my accent is taking that somewhere else. Can't. And you know, like that's the worst swear word that the kids can say. And one day we were driving along and all these skydivers were coming down, and I said, oh, I could never do that. And then I went, oh my God, what did I just say? I just said I could never do that. What? And anyway, the next week I went and did it. It's just so interesting because when I listen to the kids, the things that they say they can't do, in most cases, they haven't actually tried.
Right.
So it's like you've made a decision on something, limiting your ability on something that you don't even know. You haven't even tested. You may easily be able to do that. I just find it so interesting and especially now as they're getting, like the eldest, like nearly 12 and 10, taking so much from that and watching myself in business around like because you know they're so authentic and raw in their learning, and so being able to observe them, got to stop. But it was interesting because, you know, I've got my mantra, no plan B, and my view that if you've got a safety net, then you're more likely to take it. When we were on holidays in Hawaii, there was a big pool and then a little kids pool. And the big pool, my youngest son, Bear, couldn't touch the bottom. And so he was practicing his swimming. So he'd go off the step, and the goal was to swim to the other side, which was quite far. And he had to get to the other side because, I mean, he couldn't touch. And so he swam all the way. And we were like, wow, look at that's the furthest you've ever swum. Then he got in the pool where he could touch. And he could not swim the same distance across without putting his feet down two or three times. And I was like, I said, kids, life lesson. I've just seen a life lesson. So we all gathered together for our life lesson meeting in the pool. And I said, here is the perfect example of no plan B. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about.
It's so good.
The safety net, the fact that he could put his foot down meant that he put his foot down when he got a bit tired or, you know, whatever. But in the other pool, he couldn't. So he went all the way. Yeah. Because he had to go all the way. And I was like, so if we have this safety net, I know I've got a bit off track now, but it was such an interesting,
this is so relevant,
such an interesting learning.
As soon as you change the environment, you change the result.
Yes, and if you put yourself in an environment where you have to survive,
or with high achievers who set the bar higher than you. Yes. Right? Or if you spend time with people who you want to be like, who you aspire to be, it'll raise your game.
I'm a big believer. Well, in fact, that's exactly what I was saying to Gussie about his soccer. The reason he didn't play very well this year was because he was 10 times better than everyone in the team. And I said to him, the reason you want to change sport now and you didn't really enjoy it, so you're so much better. There was no challenge. I said, we need to get you in the move up to the other team where you're like everyone else is better than you, and then you'll lift and you'll improve your game. So it's so true, and I've noticed that in different stages in business, like when I'm around people that are in much bigger businesses with bigger challenges, then I lift.
Byron, I think I just changed my mantra for the year.
When are you? Is this a good time for you to announce your mantra? Because I'm very keen to hear it.
Yeah, so it was around the theme of building healthy habits, but I think it's going to be I can now.
You can. Oh, as in, you can.
Because I didn't get up this morning. When I looked at my alarm, I changed it to my mantra. Because I want to start waking up at 6 a.m. and be in the office by 8 and have my whole morning routines. I think that's going to change how I'll hit my sales targets. I'll achieve so many of my other personal goals too. But I think literally what I think in the morning when my alarm goes, I can't do that right now. I can't get up. I'm not a morning person. So I don't think build healthy habits is going to get me out of bed in the morning, but I think I can.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
I can. Okay, I can and stick to the plan.
Yes, you can.
Did you share yours in this?
Yeah, I did. I did talk about. Yeah, I talked about them and stick to the plan.